Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have a brand new PNSO release to take a look at, and this is one that was kind of surprising to me because we've got a brand new Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is actually Cameron, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I wasn't expecting them to release a new Rex. I kind of expected a brand new species, but I was actually really happy to see it. Once the figure was fully revealed, I pretty much immediately fell in love, and definitely happy to have a new Tyrannosaurus Rex from PNSO for, of course, numerous reasons we'll get into here as the review goes on. But you can see as far as the box art goes, we've got basically just a nice white front here to the box with a really cool image of the T-Rex model, as well as a shot there of the skull, the fossilized skull. And then if we come down here to the side, you can now see again PNSO, Dinosaur Museum, Cameron, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, 1/35th scale scientific art model, which that tells you straight away that this is a museum series release. And then you're going to see pretty much the same thing again as you move through. You're not really going to see a whole lot of difference on any side. It's all going to pretty much remain the same. So let's pop this box open and check it out. And since this is a museum series release, we straight away have our little kind of pamphlet here, our little envelope that has a whole bunch of stuff in it. And you can see we've got the really cool sticker here on the back, which I always try not to destroy. And I have succeeded this time around. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes I end up tearing it. But inside the envelope, as I throw it here behind me after very carefully removing the sticker, first of all, you've got these cards. If we open these, you'll see here that the cards actually have very cool information on them. If I can get them out, there we go. You can see that it has all kinds of information as you move through. You've got a ton to read. We're obviously not going to read it, but you can see that it tells you things even about Tyrannus, so I'd imagine there's probably quite a bit, yep, there we go, of different species of tyrannosaurs that you'll find as you move through. So that's a really cool addition, something that I think is a nice little touch to these releases, and of course, a very, very fun read, as they always are. Then on top of that, you've got your booklet for Cameron the Tyrannosaurus Rex. And this is something that you almost always get with a PNSO release. You usually always get the booklet, which features all kinds of stuff to read, all kinds of really cool images. You normally have like a really cool photo gallery of the model itself. And you can see that we do have that here. As we move through, you've got all kinds of really nice images of both the T-Rex as well as the skull replica there, and of course that doesn't cease as you move through. You have lots of awesomeness here, so definitely a lot of really cool stuff to read when you buy one of these museum series releases. Not only do you again get those cards, you also get that booklet. Then we've also got what looks to be some of the papers. Yes, there's quite a few of them. There we go. So we've separated them now. You get a bunch of papers here included, which are basically just blank, and you can go ahead and draw yourself some dinosaurs. And it's really cool that PNSO kind of tries to encourage you to get into drawing dinosaurs, you know, kind of trying to break out your creative side. So that's pretty cool as well, and you can see you do get quite a few of them. So if you are a fan of drawing, that's a really cool way to supply yourself with some sheets of paper to draw on. And then we are at the point where we are now going to have probably some really cool images and stuff to look at. And yes, we absolutely do. So straight away, we've got ourselves a really cool Proceratosaurus, which that is an absolutely phenomenal image of the Proceratosaurus. Really like that. And we're not going to take too long on each one of these because these museum series releases usually have quite a bit included in these envelopes. So I don't want to dwell on anything specifically so the review doesn't go on for too long. And that is the same image I think we had just seen, is it not? I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know if maybe the dinosaur was in a different position or something, but we for some reason have two of the Proceratosaurus in here, so the next one is definitely not the Proceratosaurus. We could see that already. We've got an amazing image of the Guanlong. Wow, that is awesome. Like, that might be some of my new favorite paleo art. That is just phenomenal. That's definitely a frame-worthy image right there, as most PNSO art usually is, but man, I'm just flabbergasted by that one. That is really, really cool. I actually think I might set that one aside and potentially seek out a frame for that one. We've also got ourselves an image here of the Dilong, which is pretty darn cool. I like that one as well. Not quite as much as the Guanlong image, but still really cool. I love the appearance to the head there, almost giving it like bat ears or something. That's really neat. Then the next one is, and I'd imagine we're going to have all sorts of species of Tyrannosaurs here. Yep, so we've got Eotyrannus here, and that's a pretty neat looking color scheme for the Eotyrannus. I definitely like that. We've also got, as we continue to move through, a Sinotyrannus, and that one is equally as beautiful as, I think, the Guanlong image. Man, I really love the artwork of PNSO, and I specifically love how much cool stuff you get in these museum releases. I sometimes hear people complain about the museum release because then it kind of jumps the price up a bit and you have to pay a little more for the model and stuff. But at the same time, you know, you get so many cool images. Like at this point, I could have a gigantic gallery of amazing PNSO art because there's just been so much of it that they've released. And again, they just continue to release such amazing artwork like this image here. Again, everything is just so high quality, so beautifully, so well drawn, so beautifully colored, so realistically done. It's just easily some of the absolute most incredible artwork that I have ever seen. And again, as we continue to move through here, like with the Electrosaurus here, look at how nice that looks. Really love everything about this, and I even love these images where they just kind of give you like a black sort of a backdrop. They don't give you any kind of like a really cool outdoor setting. Even those are really cool. Honestly, just jaw-dropping as you move through. Then we've got an awesome looking Gorgosaurus here, which looks really cool as well. I love the coloration of that one as well. That's another thing where these images really come in handy. If you are like me and you often paint dinosaurs, they're definitely really good when it comes to inspiration for paint schemes, because you'll often see some of the coolest paint schemes around, like right here for the Aliexpress. Again, the image is amazing, but the coloration and the paint scheme is really cool. Definitely something that I've actually painted similar style dinosaurs in the past with a similar coloration, but that looks absolutely epic. Again, easily some of the most beautiful paleo art you'll ever see included in these PNSO Museum Series releases. If I can figure out what side I opened this. Oh, I was right. So here we've got another image there of the skull of the Tyrannosaurus, kind of the fossil, I should say, of the Tyrannosaurus skull. And then there's actually a ton in this, man, like a lot. Oh, we've got a really big poster this time around, so you can see again, Dinosaur Museum Camera and the Tyrannosaurus Rex exhibition. So that's pretty cool. And then as we move through, we obviously have now increased in size when it comes to the posters, so they're going to get even cooler now. And there we go. Obviously, you can tell now, looking at just how big these have just become. Like, it really amps up the beauty, I think, of the posters included. And again, all just frame-worthy artwork, undoubtedly. And I'm trying not to, again, dwell on anything for too long because we have so much of it to get through. Wow. Okay, that is unbelievable. That is just the absolute coolest Eotyrannus. Let me actually reposition this a little bit just to give you guys a slightly better view of this, but that is an incredible image of the Eotyrannus. That is gorgeous on another level, man. Again, some of them are just so beautiful, it legitimately just stops you dead in your tracks. It's just amazing how nice this artwork is. And then we open this one up and you can immediately see that we have a Daspletosaurus in this image. Again, just very impressive looking yet again on this image. Really cool color scheme and an extremely highly detailed appearance. And then the next one is looking to be absolutely awesome again. Oh, and it definitely is. We've got the Albertosaurus, and that's probably one of my favorite species of Tyrannosaur that has ever existed, so really excited to see this image. That's, again, another one that's frame-worthy for sure, although I would say, honestly, pretty much everything that we've seen in this set is frame-worthy. And we are upside down. Well, look at this. I like the style of this one. This is like a very different style of art compared to what we often see from PNSO. Just the entire way that this is, like, it looks to be painted and everything, like it's just super cool. I like how unique that one is compared to a lot of the others that we've seen, where it still has that sort of realistic style, but a very artsy style at the same time. And then, I don't know why I keep picking them up upside down, But that one as well. Look at the colors. Man, this is easily another frame-worthy one here for sure. Those colors are unreal. And this is one of those images where you often think dinosaurs may not be colorful, but then you see an image like this and you're like, okay, yeah, they absolutely could be, because that really does look realistic. Looks completely like it could be the real colors of those animals. And man, unbelievable artwork. I honestly think I'm going to have to search out a lot of frames when it comes to the artwork in these sets. You've got another Tarbosaurus image here looking really cool, you know, staring us dead on. Also really, really neat. And I think I closed that incorrectly. But we are almost at the end of this. I think we've got 2 more left. So this one is another really cool image with a really close-up shot of the Nanosaurus. And again, they've definitely given us a lot of different species of Tyrannosaur here that is really giving you a lot of potential posters and images to hang up on your wall when it comes to this set. And then the final one is actually our really cool Tyrannosaur model, our Cameron the Tyrannosaurus right here, which is the figure we are about to take a look at. So, again, pretty much an overload of awesomeness with those posters. I would actually say that might be my new favorite set of PNSO posters because there were just so many amazing ones included. But then when we actually get to the figure itself, we straight away have the stand, the little plastic stand that you always get from PNSO models that are bipedal at the very least. We've also got our little skull fossil replica, which looks really cool. Definitely really nicely done as far as both the detailing and paintwork, but we'll of course get a closer look at that here in a moment. And then our Tyrannosaurus Rex model itself. Ah, man, that is beautiful. Like, if anybody was questioning whether we should get another Tyrannosaur from PNSO, just looking at this here almost has me breathless. Like, that is just amazing. That's some of the nicest paintwork that I've ever seen on a Tyrannosaur model, on a PNSO model in general, but also one of the nicest sculpts that I've ever seen. Like, this is easily the best Tyrannosaurus that PNSO has ever released. There is just no doubt about that, and I can tell you that instantly without even taking a closer look at it. But we're going to take a closer look at it anyway, so let's jump to it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Tyrannosaurus Rex, you can straight away see how beautiful the detail and the paintwork is. There is a lot of really nice, really fine detail. When we get nice and close, look at how incredible the scale detail is, as well as the sheer amount of difference within the scale detail that you see all over the head sculpt of this Rex. And of course, as we often see in Tyrannosaurs, we see the scale detail increase into some very large scales as you lead up here into the snout toward the nostrils and the jawline and stuff. You see the scales get much larger, and they look really nice as well. They're all painted with a very dark tone of color, kind of like a dark gray or a black. And you see more of that coloration there kind of bordering around the eye, kind of a satin shine in that area as well. But you can also see the eye is painted very nicely with a yellow given a black pupil. Nice small eye, really stands out when it comes to those dark tones that are there around it. As you lead down here into the lower jaw, you can also see some more of that dark tone running along the jawline. We can open the jaw, of course, because we do have an articulated jaw, and I like how really subtle additions to this. They have this like striping effect that moves down into this really nice light brown you see in the lower jaw. Really nice looking paintwork. As you move up here and take a look at the inside of the mouth, you can straight away see the detailing is phenomenal here. You can see a lot of really nice detail there, a lot of really nice paintwork as we can see various tones of color, including a red sort of a wash in there. And then as you move up here and you take a look at the inside of the mouth here, you can see the tongue sculpted out. Really nice texturing to the tongue, more of that reddish wash and those nice pinkish tones in there. Absolutely incredible gloss coat on the inside of the mouth as well. And then as you look up here, wow, that is unbelievable. I am honestly, every single time I look at the inside of the mouth of a PNSO model, I'm just blown away because it looks so unbelievably real. And that is exactly what you see here. That gloss coat really complements everything on the inside of the mouth, but the paintwork is incredible. You can see the teeth are all sculpted individually as well, and they're all painted individually. They honestly look better when it comes to the paintwork than the paintwork on the prototype did. So that's a plus. And again, the jaw is very nice, very smooth as far as the articulation goes. You can see you can open it and close it to any distance you want, including fully closed, and it sits there very nicely. As you move into the palette, you can see again we have nice variations of lighter shades of browns. You can also see the crest up here is painted with almost like a golden brown running along the top of the head, and I think that really helps for that area to stand out quite nicely. As you lead back here, you can see the ears sculpted out, and as you lead up here to the top straight away, you can see some nice skin detail, also some fine scale detail. You can begin to see a striping effect pick up and run down the course of the Rex. And I love how, even though this isn't meant to be like a new version of Wilson, because we've had quite a few different variations of Wilson over the years, this is now Cameron the Tyrannosaurus, but I like how they've still given it kind of a similar coloration, a similar paint scheme to what we saw on Wilson. So it looks like, again, it absolutely could be part of the Tyrannosaur family of PNSO because it follows that same style of coloration. But as you move down the very big bulky neck of our Rex, you see those stripes are really nice and naturally applied, really smoothly applied. You can also see all kinds of variations of browns here as you move down toward the underside. Lots of skin wrinkles and skin detail into that area. Even here running along the underside, big bulky throat on our Rex. That neck is so thick and so impressive looking, like this is a beast of a Tyrannosaur. And as you continue to move down, you see like some variations of almost like reddish browns that just look so nice here in person, so visually appealing. You also have some more really subtle darker stripes showing up here and there, which looks really cool. You can definitely make out the rib cage slightly right there, even though the dinosaur is very big and beefy, very big and bulky, you can still kind of see it. You can also see some really nice skin wrinkles and skin folds as you move through, especially as you lead closer to the thigh, again showing the movement of the dinosaur as it's walking along and that leg is stepping in, kind of scrunching the skin there of the stomach. As you lead down here, you can see more nice skin wrinkles and stuff leading into the arm. I like that the arm transitions back to that dark tone, kind of like a really dark gray or a very dark brown, and that as well looks really nice. You can make out some muscle definition in the arm. The nails are painted with a variation of a light gray, but they also have kind of like a dry brushing over them to highlight the nails and the detail of the nails. As you move back up here, you can see the spinal column moving along the back of the dinosaur. Again, more of that really nice, really smooth striping that moves along the course of the T-Rex. And you can also see some nice bulkiness to the stomach as well. But as you move back here and you look from up above, you can definitely see the hip bone and everything very nicely. As you move down, lots of skin wrinkles and skin detail as you move down the course of the thigh. The musculature looks really nice. And I also like that we have the striping effect running down here a little bit further into the thigh, which looks really cool. And again, definitely has a nice bit of variation of browns with more of those kind of reddish browns popping up in here, as well as other variations of browns. And the transitioning on this is some of the smoothest and nicest I've ever seen. Like just here in the stomach, as the browns transition back to the darker, like reddish browns and other shades of browns. That's so smooth and so naturalistic. But as you move down here, you can see the knee on the front of the leg. You can also see a big bulging calf muscle. Again, super smooth transition to that lighter tone on the rear part of the leg in the calf region. As you move down into the foot sculpt, again, the detailing here is out of this world. And again, we have a really nice, very bird-like foot sculpt, nice scoots down the toes, very nicely painted nails, and the nails even have kind of a satin shine to them, so they have a nice realistic look. You can also see a dew claw is present for our Rex. And then as you move back up here and you lead into the tail, you can see the skin stretching off of the tail, which looks really cool. You can even see some slight kind of pinkish tones here along the underside, running under the thigh and leading up into the rear part of the tail, or I mean the lower part of the tail, I should say. But as you lead out, you continue to have that striping effect moving down through the tail. Unbelievably beautiful paintwork on this as you move out through the course of the tail. You can even see that there seems to be like a dark wash that has been applied to really highlight the detail, but in the most naturalistic, subtle way possible. As you move out, you can see the stripes increase as we have quite a few leading out toward the tip there. Really nice curve to the tail as well. Nice naturalistic curve to the tail. If we move here along the underside, the paintwork and sculpt work all looks absolutely amazing moving through. You do have a cloaca present right there. And look at how nice the scale detail pops around the cloaca, and then moving up here into the groin, you can really see how nice that scale detail just honestly jumps out at you. And then moving up here into the stomach region, yet again, you can make out how they have that nice, really subtle dark wash, but man, is that some of the most impressive sculpt and detail I've ever seen. And then, of course, we move over to the opposing side. You've got a really nice shot of that head sculpt yet again. I love how they've allowed the lighter browns to kind of creep through these larger scales there in the snout. Again, we have that kind of striping effect here on the lower jaw. And then as we move back, you can see the Rex has its head turned away from us as it's clearly got its attention here on the left-hand side. So you can see some nice tensing in the big bulky neck. You can also see some more skin wrinkles and stuff here as you move down. As you move into the body here, you can kind of make out the shoulder blade a little bit. You can also see this arm is held a little further back compared to what we see on the opposing arm, but still in a really nice natural position. Incredibly smooth transition down into, again, those darker brown tones of the arm. Really nice looking there. You can see a much better view of the stomach because the leg is trailing over here. You can see how the skin is stretching off of the stomach right there because of the leg trailing. And again, incredibly smooth transitions, amazing fine detail. Like when we get nice and close, look at how unbelievable the detail is on this. I can't even begin to fathom how long it must have taken to sculpt this out. But the paintwork, again, for being a factory painted figure, is easily, I would say, some of the best I've ever seen from PNSO. And as you move back up, again, you can see them very large muscular thigh here. As you move down, you've got nice creasing in the joint of the knee, as well as the kneecap there in the front of the leg, and of course the nice bulging calf muscle. And as you move down into the foot, again, a really nice looking foot sculpt. You can see the toes leaving the ground as the Tyrannosaurus is taking a step. It all looks extremely realistic and as highly detailed as it honestly could get. And then we lead back up again into the tail as we lead out with a really, really elegant looking tail for our Tyrannosaurus. So, man, that is absolutely the best Tyrannosaurus that I've ever seen from PNSO, and maybe the best Tyrannosaurus in my collection altogether. And then we've also got our fossil replica here of the skull of the T-Rex, and you can see that as well is really nicely sculpted, really nicely painted, lots of nice fine detail. I love that they've added so much variation of color to the skull, and again, that kind of like khaki wash really highlighting a lot of the detail on the skull. It's super, super cool looking, extremely impressive as a whole, and definitely an awesome addition to this set. I love that they've been releasing skulls and stuff in the sets with these like museum style releases like they did with the Triceratops. Definitely a really cool addition to this set. And as I said, we do have this stand for the Rex if you need it, but so far, this Rex is standing really nicely, and honestly, like, it's really stable. Doesn't feel like it's going to have any issues as far as stability moving into the future. And that, going back to earlier in the review, is one of the things I think I like most about this because of the positioning of Wilson, which at that point, you know, previously I would have said Wilson was the definitive Tyrannosaurus from PNSO. Wilson has that kind of leaning forward pose, which causes him to often be top heavy, which of course, you know, limits his balance, and that's one of the problems that has kind of plagued Wilson over the years is his ability to stand isn't that great, so he does tend to fall over a lot. At first it's stood really nicely, but it's just kind of over time sort of become really top heavy, whereas this one is positioned so nicely and so perfectly, I really don't see that happening at all. But as far as the size goes, for a length, it's definitely a nicely sized model. You are looking at about a little over 13¼ inches, or about the 34 centimeter range. And then for a height, the highest point here would be the back of the neck, a little over 4½ inches, approaching 4¼ but not quite. Like, it's definitely a little bit under that. So I would say actually a little over 4½ inches, or just shy of about 12 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line next to our Cameron the Tyrannosaurus Rex from PNSO, and you can see that they are very similar in size as far as the Papo Rex and the PNSO Rex. They definitely aren't far off as far as the size goes, because both are, I think, in a 1/35th scale size range. Obviously, the PNSO version states it on the box, but I believe the Papo version is as well. But for another comparison, and I know there are a lot of people that want to see some comparisons with other modern Tyrannosaurs that are out. So we have the Rebor version, and this is the Rebor version with lips. Now you'll notice the PNSO version does not have lips, and that is because if you actually watch the videos that PNSO posts on their YouTube channel, they very much so believe that Tyrannosaurus did not have lips. They've actually discussed this on a few different occasions, and You know, it's definitely still very debatable. Many people claim that it's like totally solid evidence that T-Rex had lips. I don't think so at all. I think that the debate will always be, you know, kind of continuing, because I really don't think, unless we find, as someone recently said in the comments section, unless we find a mummified version of a T-Rex, we'll never truly know whether it had lips or not. But, again, you kind of have the best of both worlds, but you can see the rebore here is definitely a little bit larger than our Cameron the Tyrannosaurus is. But at the same time, I would say that the Cameron Tyrannosaurus Rex is personally my favorite of the two. I definitely like Cameron better than the Rebore Rex. Even though I love the Rebore Rex, I just think that the sculpt and paint job on Cameron is a bit higher quality than what we see on the Rebore version. Here you can actually see a comparison with an older version of Wilson the Tyrannosaurus. This is one of the earlier versions of Wilson, and it's amazing to look at these two and see how much PNSO has improved. Like, I really at the time loved this version of Wilson, and I still do love that figure, but man, they have just improved so much when it comes to both their sculpts and their paintwork. It's crazy. But obviously, again, they're a very similar scale, but easily Cameron wins this round for sure. We've also got Andrea, the laying Tyrannosaurus Rex, which, looking at that one, man, that is so beautiful. I like how it is a little bit different as far as the coloration compared to Cameron, but again, they still look similar enough that they could be, you know, from the same area, the same pack maybe of Tyrannosaurs. We've also got the Nano Tyrannus from PNSO, which you could, of course, look at, and most people do look at it as being a juvenile Tyrannosaurus Rex next to Cameron. But of course, the comparison that most people would probably want to see, we have Wilson the Tyrannosaurus next to Cameron the Tyrannosaurus, and yet again, they look super cool together, but even looking at these two, you can just see such a difference as far as the style of sculpt and paintwork between the two. Like, the skin texture is entirely different on the newer version of the T-Rex, which I really like the newer version a lot more, and the paintwork is just so much more impressive on the newer one as well. And of course you have the addition of the new pose, which I also like a lot more than Wilson. But they definitely look amazing next to each other, but absolutely Cameron wins yet again. And then for one of the coolest visuals I could imagine, we have all of the Tyrannosaurs here, or at least all of the newer versions of Tyrannosaurs next to each other here from PNSO. And they look like one amazing family here for sure. Definitely an insanely cool amount of Tyrannosaurs all released from PNSO, creating one amazing family. So this brand new Cameron the Tyrannosaurus Rex from PNSO is unquestionably my new favorite Tyrannosaurus Rex from PNSO. I think everything about this is a much more impressive upgrade than the older ones. The sculpt is amazing, and although I love the sculpt of Wilson, I think the skin texture and everything on this one just looks so much nicer, so much better. The detailing is just so much more high quality on this Rex than it is on Wilson. I think this one also matches Andrea a lot nicer as far as the skin texture goes, so there's that as well if you want to just kind of eliminate Wilson and just bring in the Andrea and Cameron together. But I kind of look at Wilson, he almost kind of looks like an older, almost like beat up Tyrannosaurus, like one of the older members of the pack, and Cameron's more of like that fresh-faced newer Tyrannosaurus. So that's kind of the way they look, because Wilson just kind of has that slightly faded kind of look to him, and Cameron has that really vibrant look to him. But Cameron is just gorgeous, again, as far as the detail. You couldn't possibly sculpt this out any higher quality and with more detail than you see here. Like, this is out of this world when it comes to the fine detailing aspect. It really is one of the most impressive sculpts I've ever seen from PNSO. On top of that, the paint job is amazing on this. There's so much really nice variation of color, all sorts of variations of browns. It's some of the smoothest paintwork I've ever seen, with insanely smooth and gradual transitions, extremely naturalistic striping, which is just applied with perfection, honestly. And again, the coloration from head to tail is easily some of the nicest I've ever seen. We also have a really nice pose for the figure. I love the pose of it just walking along. I don't feel like it's going to cause any stability issues or anything, which is also nice. And on top of that, you have an articulated jaw, which is always really fun. And then on top of all of that, you also have that ton of extras that we had taken a look at earlier in the review because it is a museum series release. But as a whole, this is a massive recommendation from me and a definitive must-have if you are a fan of Tyrannosaurus. Again, in my opinion, some people might not think so because they're so partial to the lipped version, but if you are like me and you're still kind of up in the air on the lip controversy, I definitely think this is easily one of the best Tyrannosaurus models that has ever been made. So if you are interested, I will include a link in the description to where you can purchase this on both the Amazon PNSO store as well as the Aliexpress PNSO store. So make sure you check those links, go grab this amazing Tyrannosaurus to add to your collection, and also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.